your resource-driven oasis with your host, Jennifer Corbin-Carson. Join us each week as we dive into hot topics and essential materials for individuals and businesses. We invite you to get your feet wet and explore life's offerings. From insightful discussions to practical advice, we're here to navigate the tides of change together. Come join us for Beach Jam Media, where knowledge flows endlessly and where the currents of insight never stop. So come on, let's get our feet wet and explore what's waiting for us on the beach.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here on Beach Jam. And without further ado, let's just jump in and get our feet wet. Good morning, Chanel. How are you?
Good morning. Well, I am here and kicking and excited about this beautiful Wednesday.
Good, good. Yes, every day is a beautiful day, right?
Absolutely. We have to be grateful.
Yes.
How are you this morning?
Yeah, it's kind of dreary out today, so it's kind of a meh day. But
You're coming from Atlanta, Georgia, so
yeah, just south of Atlanta. So I mean, it's good. It's good. Things are growing, and the garden is good. So it's always a good day when you wake up.
absolutely. And I'm excited about what we're talking about today because it really, I think, hits a lot of people.
Absolutely, absolutely, and entrepreneurs as well. I think they face that more than anybody. And if you haven't, well, we haven't even led into what we're talking about yet. But, anyways, we are talking about falling down. Well, Chanel, you had a different falling down is it by accident? And getting back up is a choice. So,
Yeah.
what do you
And
think of
staying
when?
down.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you think of when you think of that? That saying, so falling down, is it by accident? Getting back up is a choice. What do you think of when you hear that?
Well, I think a lot of this originates with what happens in life. You don't always expect whether it's a physical falling down or something in one's life isn't going as they may have thought that it should. It can really knock you out. And whether it's, we were talking about myself physically, which I took an injury in the beginning of the year that broke one of my foot bones. And here we are mid-year, almost 6 months later, and it has been quite the challenge to recover and repair from that. And oftentimes in life, that happens. Things don't go as we expect. But the key is, do you let it keep you down or do you get up? And during this time of that, we've formed networks, we've done all sorts of things in the last 6 months, which may not have gotten us exactly where we anticipated us to be. But the point is, you don't always know what's going to be. So embrace what you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I say all the time, everything happens for a reason. And God has a plan, whether you like it or not. And so that failing, I do believe, is a learning experience for us to come in. We fail because if we were good at everything all the time, man, wouldn't this be a boring life? The way we're designed, right? So failing, you have that experience of what it is like to feel that and go through it. Then you learn from it because you go in and you say, well, this isn't the way to do it. What's that saying about Thomas Edison? He said, I haven't okay, so you guys are gonna, I can hear it now or see it now, all the comments and things like that, but I don't have the exact quote in front of me because I just thought of it.
Yeah.
But Thomas Edison said, I have just found 1,000 ways not to do it. So you keep moving
Mm.
forward, right? You write your notes, you do, you have your experiences, you learn from them, you move forward, and you take those lessons with you and apply them as you go, right? So
And I think it's exactly what you're saying, you know, it's only really a failing if you haven't learned something from it. And it's only really a failing if it's stacked up against an arbitrary expectation that you had. So I think we have to be really careful to keep the languaging that we talk to ourselves about and each other about very clear, that it isn't always necessarily something we failed at, but it is just necessarily not the way we anticipated. And that's really arbitrary, the way something would go.
right, absolutely, comes back to perspective, right?
Yeah.
And I think we, as a society, we put too much heavy burden on ourselves and in that word failure.
Yeah.
So that perspective, your perspective of what failure looks like, will eventually either bring you down or lift you up. And in my opinion, if you have faith, it will always lift you up
Yes.
because there's always a plan, right? And so we have to go through our trials and tribulations to get to where he needs us to be and where we need to be and what we need to be doing on this earth. So and it's funny that this is happening, that we're talking about this, because this is what our pastor preached on Sunday. It's all in our expectations. So we just got done studying Joseph and his life, and it was just, he was down and then he was up and then he was down again and then he came back up, but ultimately he ended up on top because he had
Hmm.
faith and he took his experiences and he learned from them and he kept going, right? And that's what I think we all need to learn to do, is not put that negative perspective on failure, but we switch it around and we put a positive spin on that word failure. So the more you live with something, it becomes a habit, right? You've talked about this on the Reinvented Life podcast. The habits that you form, the negative perspective that we have of the word failure is a habit. That's all it is. So once we turn our brains the other way and said, okay, and put this positive spin on the word failure or whatever you consider a failure, then that will lead you to bigger and better things.
So, absolutely, what you're saying is true. Our thoughts, these things that you refer to, um, are conditioned. There's a conditioning that takes
Mhm.
place, there's a habit that takes place in the way that we think about it. So, again, if we don't want to necessarily keep ourselves down, if we want to keep ourselves moving forward in life, then it has everything to do with what is it, what's relevant about what is happening right now. And we always talk about it. We are not human doings, we are human beings. So, how is it that we are being surrounding the things that happen? You know, we all talk about what we're doing all day long, but how are we being towards it? How optimistic? How much hope are we bringing to our discussions, to our interactions, to what we're feeling about every day? And that is the key, because it may not be an expectation that we had, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. And I know for so many of my clients and so many people I talk to all the time, you hear the word all the time, it just doesn't feel right, right? We hear that all the time. Well, it only doesn't feel right because it's set up again, a surrounding an arbitrary expectation that may not have even been in place all along. So if you look
Right.
at your life and you look at it living in default based on the way of what's happening, or you look at your life by design, there's a very big difference. And when you can design it, you can feel interactive, you can feel proactive, and you can feel in purpose.
Absolutely. And to touch on what you said just a minute ago, so we are not human doings, we're human beings. But those two are intertwined.
Hmm.
And to, put a little bit another spin on what you just said is that the doing and the being are intertwined, but
Hmm.
it's how you act towards them that makes your experiences different than others,
Yes.
right? So again, the positive spin, however you want to look at it. And the people that we interact with are of the analytical minds. They are coachable. They are open-minded to things, and that's a mindset as well. Being able to change your mind and your attitude towards something with additional information that you might not have known before.
Right.
So being open-minded is essential to having a better experience in life, because that's what it is,
Yeah. And
right?
oftentimes, exactly. So oftentimes, if you're um, just set in a way of doing something and not looking at it in being a certain way about it, it takes the fun out of it. And part of what Beach Jam is all about is what washes up in life and how can
Mm-hmm.
we have fun with it. If we forget the element of fun, things get very serious. As I look at building this reinvented life network, I get excited because really what it is I've become a show junkie. Like, whose show, whose story can we bring forward? And that's a really fun way to look at things. And if you look at like whether it's what you're going to do this upcoming summer on vacation, where you're going to improve something in your house, or take a look at just life in general, if you can look at it as, is it bringing joy? Is it bringing fun? It's going to add a lot more energy to what's happening.
Absolutely. And then, like you said earlier, it's about living in purpose, right? And I
Hmm.
will bring that spiritual entity into play here again. Um,
Yeah.
it's where he wants you to be as well. And so, living in purpose and in faith and intentionally
Hmm.
makes for a happier. Oh, what's that other saying? Um, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Well, I should say makes Jennifer a dull girl. It's that balance too, right? Of work and play. Work hard, play hard, right? Work hard, pray hard, and play hard. I don't know, I just made that up.
And
But it's
you know, and and even within, we're talking about an injury, and I broke a foot, and it's just
right.
shifted everything done. And there have been days where pain that's developed not only just from that, but from the misalignment that has thrown my body into. I mean, there are days I haven't been able to function. And so it's very difficult when you are in that kind of pain and people are in pain. And part of this show is bringing people resources in life to make their lives easier. The challenge is, how do you find the joy and how do you find the fun and how do you find all that when that pain exists, be it physical, emotional, mental, all the challenges that people have in front of them. And so what I have found, and I think the life hack for people, is to hang on to that hope that we have
Mhm.
been given a new day. We have been given a new opportunity to bring things forward. And even if it means just deciding it is okay that I don't do something today. Because those of us that operate from, again, wanting to accomplish and wanting to bring things forward and wanting to keep moving forward,
Mhm.
you can feel stuck. And the idea of all of this is sometimes you just have to be okay with design. This is a day that I'm going to be a certain way, accept what's happening, minimize it as much as possible, and still be in appreciation.
Absolutely. I think what you touched on was perfect because in the beginning of my fibromyalgia, I was so hard on myself because I couldn't do.
Mhm.
And I had to learn to give myself permission to not get out of bed. It's
Yeah,
okay. Those things will be there tomorrow. But that's the thing that nagged in my head. Right? It's going to
exactly.
still be there, but if I get it done, it won't be there anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
So giving yourself permission to have a day of rest or two or three or however much your body needs is is good for your soul as well as the people around you. Trust me.
And
Because you'll be in a better
if you
spot.
yeah, and if you have that grace with yourself, then it allows you to have grace with others. Everything that we have for others originates from ourselves. So
Mhm.
having that grace, having that ability to accept what is but have hope for what can be, is a huge, huge piece for people to get.
Absolutely. Because that grace will put that positive spin back into your life and it will replace those negative conditionings that we have been trained to have. So it's again, it's a mindset.
Mhm.
And if you can't change your mindset, then we're really not the right podcast for you.
Yeah. This
Just
is
saying it like it
definitely the
is.
place to vouch. Um, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, but it can be learned if you're willing and you're able. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? And I tell my kids that all the time. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you have to stand on somebody's desk to do it, maybe that's your own desk.
Yeah.
But that grace will help you deal with a lot of other things in your life that come up. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so speaking of which, part of the, I guess we can do this now. What do you think? The veterans from the Dublin VA. You want to do that
Yeah,
now?
I think this is a perfect example of bringing hope. And I think that's the key to this. I know your background is in the military. We're just coming off of still a week ago or so, Memorial Weekend, where we're really remembering those that served, and that's such a part of your world. And so this is a
Right.
perfect example of having grace, having hope, and being able to reinvent post service what happens. So,
Right.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And D-Day's tomorrow. Thank you,
Exactly.
Dawn, for reminding me. But yes, so reinvention, giving yourself a little grace, applying for those VA benefits that you don't think you deserve, that's a mindset. And
Yes.
let's change that because you served, you deserve it. So for those of you around Georgia, and northern Florida, the Dublin VA, the Carl Vinson VA Medical Center, is having a PACT Act Summer Vet Fest. And that is June 29th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Here we go. And you can file your claim with the VBA. And so here's the flyer. You got a QR code there. Screenshot it and use your phone camera to use to get more information for that. But you can learn more about the PACT Act benefits. You served, you deserve it. So I think I'm one of those that said bring a canned good. Entry fee is canned goods for homeless veterans. And there's an auto and motorcycle show. So you can go file your claim, have a bite to eat, and look at some cool cars and motorcycles with a canned good entry fee. So June 29th in Dublin, Georgia at the Dublin VA. There's ways to sign up for the car show as well. Michael Cato, sorry if I butcher that, CATOE at va.gov. That's his email address, but it's on one of those flyers. So yeah, go down, even if it's a initial file, just file. And we will be going over more of this in the coming weeks as we grow our little conversation. We will have Jennifer Sizemore next week from the VA, and she is a VA home-based primary care licensed social worker, and she will be talking about that benefit for veterans. It's going to be a great show because I didn't even know that they had such a thing for the veterans, and it's just phenomenal. Some of the things that I have learned about their. Oh, I'm pretty dark, aren't I? Oh, the sun came out. That's what happened. And so we're going to continue that with a couple more veteran guest speakers or guests, I guess you would say, guests for the rest of the month. So it's exciting. We're growing and getting those resources out to you. If you need to contact Chanel or or if you need to contact Chanel or me, I guess is the right verbiage, you can email us at beachjammedia, 2 M's, at gmail.com and tell us what you like about the podcast so far. And, if you're on YouTube and you get this, put a comment below. What would you like to see us bring forward as resources? We have a huge veteran following, and I know I'm in a big veteran area. I know, Chanel, you have a lot of veterans in your area. So, and I know there's a lot of veterans in Florida. So there's a lot of veterans all over. Anyways,
And I,
so let us
I,
know. Let
yeah,
us
I was
know
going to
what.
mention the resource that we're bringing forward here are available in cities everywhere. So I would use
Mhm.
this as an example of if you're not right in Georgia, look for similar events and look for similar uh, things that are taking place by where you are, because this is
Yes.
what the show's about, to show example of resources everywhere.
Absolutely. And call your local VA, and say, what are the events where they're listing somewhere? Call them and ask them, where can I find the events or the resources for you? VA.gov is a great resource, but it's got a lot of information on it. So we're trying to go to the sources and bring those resources to you. We're not doing it secondhand. We're getting the resources and bringing them to you. So this will pretty much, I guess we're out of time. It always goes so fast.
It does.
So remember, failing is good, and turn your perspective towards a more positive perspective, and it will help guide you through the I don't want to say the bad times, but the more challenging times of your life.
Yes.
And that faith helps too. So thank you, Chanel. It was wonderful talking to you. I'm sure I will talk to you later today or tomorrow. And I'm glad you're doing better. So thank you again for watching. And again, click that subscribe button, that bell, and you will get notifications on when we come out every Wednesday at 11 Eastern Standard Time. And we will see you next week at the beach.
In the calm of early morning, when the day begins anew, we pause to reflect. May holds a special significance beyond just being another month. It is time for solemn remembrance, gratitude, and honoring those who've made tremendous sacrifice for our freedom. To all who served in the military across all branches and the National Guard, to the veterans, and to the families who support them through thick and thin, we express our heartfelt thanks. Your courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication inspired us deeply. As we commemorate Military Appreciation Month, we recognize the importance of standing by our newest recruits, those brave individuals venturing into an unknown, responding to duties called with determination, deserve our utmost respect and guidance. Equally important is our commitment to support those actively serving in the Air Force, Coast Guard, Army, Navy, Marines, Space Force, and National Guard. Whether deployed abroad or stationed at home, they carry out their duties with honor and integrity. It is our responsibility to ensure they have the resources, care, and unwavering support necessary to fulfill their missions. So, as we observe Military Appreciation Month, let's unite in gratitude and solidarity. Let's honor the past, support the present, and inspire the future. To all who serve, have served, and those who stand beside them, we extend our deepest appreciation. Happy Military Appreciation Month.
Thank you for tuning in to Beach Jam Media with your host, Jennifer Corbin-Carson. We hope today's dive into hot topics and valuable resources left you feeling refreshed and inspired. Our mission is to keep you informed and engaged as we ride the waves of what washes up in life together. Until next time, stay curious, keep the conversation flowing, ask questions, and let the glisten of the shoreline guide your journey. Goodbye.